Hello, cactus and succulent growers, and welcome to my channel. Apologies, I haven't given a video for some while now. There is a reason for this. A number of my cacti, including one of my favourite plants, which were outside the front of my house, were stolen, and I felt a bit disheartened about the whole thing. One of the plants was a roughly 20 centimetre high Cereus Floridiano, which I gave my partner as a significant birthday present, so that one had a lot of sentimental value, and obviously someone decided they were just going to help themselves to it. So I was a little bit upset about that. They took a number of other plants. Most of them had no real value for me. There was mostly Trichocereus seedlings. There was one Trichocereus tachymbalensis seedling which was growing a lot fatter than all the other ones. It was doing very well, and I was looking forward to repotting that. That was taken. Anyway, so these things happen in life. So I'm just going to do a very quick update. At the moment, I'm separated from my main cactus collection, but I have some cacti here that I am also looking after. They are mostly abandoned, ignored, neglected, not watered at all. So some of them are doing okay. This Pilosocereus is very healthy, actually. It's not grown very much, but it's survived being watered perhaps 4 or 5 times a year. This Pelasgia chichipe has also done very well. This Myrtilla cactus it's grown. It's very thin. I have some others that are a lot fatter than this. It's I wouldn't say it's particularly happy. And this toothpick cactus here, I sometimes wonder if it's still alive. It's still green. It's got some mold marks on it. It's not grown at all, really. But it looks like it's still going. Maybe it'll perk up. I've given these some water. Hopefully we'll see a bit of growth. These Hylocereus seedlings were bought from IKEA. A big pot costing €5, which was absolutely stuffed with seedlings. I've separated some of them out. Growing fairly slowly, but I mean, this is the new growth, so it's doing something. Not the ideal conditions. It's probably too dry for them, and maybe not hot enough. But I'm happy that's showing some growth. And these, I got 5 of these. So 3 of them are neglected and just occasionally watered, and 2 of them are in this pot. They've not grown at all, and 2 of the ones that I've been looking after are now probably about that size, that fat, and got loads and loads of pups themselves. They've done extremely well. So it's interesting to see if you have different growing conditions, ones that you're able to look after. You check them, check the moisture of the soil. You water them. You make sure they're any problems that you get are treated. They grow very well. And these ones, well, they've survived, but they haven't really grown very much. And you may have spotted that there was a very sad-looking stump of Pelasgia chendi, which wasn't doing very well. I actually cut the top off and was trying to root it. I think there's actually a root growing on these, so they may survive. This is the Pelasgia chendi there, and this is an unknown cactus, probably Rebutia, and I'll just show you the rest of it. Is growing here. This cactus has quite a lot of sentimental value because when I was clearing out my parents' house, I found what appeared to be a very dead cactus that probably hadn't been watered for some years. And I thought, well, I know what cacti are like. They can survive a lot of things. So I watered it, and I waited, and I watered it, and I waited. And after some months, there was a sort of slight bulge, and I thought, oh, something's happening. And it sort of sprang back to life, and you've got these heads have appeared they've produced some side shoots. It's going fairly strong, and next to it is one shoot that I took off, I think 2 years ago now, and planted separately, and that's growing quite well. So I'm quite pleased with that. This cactus, I don't actually know what its identity is, but it had 2 flowers last year. And it has two buds there which look like they're going to appear at some point. I haven't actually seen these flowers out, so maybe at some point I'll actually coincide with them flowering, but it's done okay. It's survived, and it's obviously happy enough to flower, so I'm quite pleased with that. And next to it is a Ripsalis. I'm not absolutely sure which one this is, but again, this grows best if it's given a little bit more shade and damp than some of the desert cacti. But yeah, despite being neglected, this one's gone a bit shriveled and thin, but it seems to be still alive and happy, and it's grown gradually. So that's something I'm fairly pleased about. So this Ostrocylindropuntia subulata is growing very nicely, sort of steadily showing lots of side shoots. It looks very happy. I'm quite pleased with that. These are some Astrophytum seedlings. They sort of shrivel up when they're neglected. They seem to go into a mode where they're obviously making sure they don't get dehydrated. As soon as I water them, within a day, they sort of puff back up, so they're quite resilient. They're still fairly small. I think these are about 1.5 years old, and they may be 6-7 millimeters across, the largest ones. And I have some Lophophora Williamsii here, so there's 5 of them have survived. Amazingly, they seem to keep growing. They're looking quite healthy, so I'm quite pleased with these. However, these rather sad-looking things, they are Trichocereus Pachanoi, and I have some that I planted at the same time as these, which are probably 20 to 25 centimeters tall now. Have done extremely well. So these were maybe up to about twice that height at one point. But they've just been neglected, dried out for months, and in a fairly warm environment, and they've shriveled. I've re-watered them. I'm hoping they're going to perk back up and swell. It's perhaps a bit early to tell, but in a week's time I'll check up on them again and see what's happening. But these are not really desert cacti, so perhaps it's not surprising that if they don't receive any water at all, they don't do too well. They require a bit more water, and when fed and watered properly, they grow relatively fast. They're not particularly slow growing. So this is a bit of a disappointment, but it's quite interesting to have the same species with 2 different locations, 2 different care regimes, one of which is basically abandon them with just very periodic attention to see what's happening, and the others, admittedly probably also in a better climate, but they're being looked after carefully. Any problems are being addressed. They're being moved around to more shady conditions if they're showing signs of sun stress, and vice versa. So it's very interesting to see how they differ. And there's a few more here. So this is another of the Echinopsis ericii pups that I got, and that one's doing a little bit better than the first 2. I have a Camelobivia peanut cactus here. It's got a couple of pups growing at the side, but it's really not shown a lot of growth, and that's been in a fairly shady place. And another Myrtilla cactus. Again, it's grown. It's perhaps twice as tall as when I planted it, but it's very thin, not particularly healthy. I would love to see this at least twice the thickness of that, and I have some others that have grown to that thickness. So I don't know. It's interesting to see how different growing conditions affect the conditions. So that's a very quick update. Sorry I've gone on for rather too long, but I wanted to just give a bit of information about how I've got sort of an experiment in different care regimes to see how it affects the outcome. So thank you for watching. Do click the like button, and I hope to do a slightly more in-depth update fairly soon. Thank you for watching, everyone, and happy cactusing!